When black men enlisted in the Union Army during the Civil War, they knew one thing with absolute clarity. Capture would either mean a return to slavery or death. There would be no prisoner exchanges, no camps, no mercy guaranteed by the rules of war. Simply carrying a rifle in defense of the United States made them a target, not just of enemy fire, but of vengeance. This is African American History is American History.
Over 60% of the black men who joined the military had once been enslaved. The deep hostility of Confederate forces toward armed black men, combined with distrust and discrimination from some white Union comrades, meant African American soldiers were especially vulnerable to wartime atrocities and racial violence. Black enlisted men in the Union Army not only faced systemic discrimination, but received unequal pay. Black soldiers were paid $10 per month, with $3 deducted for clothing, while white soldiers earned $13 with no deduction. They received inferior supplies and assignments to labor-heavy duties. Medical care for black troops was inadequate, to say the least. They were often subjected to poor, segregated facilities and discriminatory treatment by surgeons. Despite all that, the black enlisted men in the Union Army served with distinction in combat.
This is African American History is American History.
Unlike the Army, the U.S. Navy had never prohibited black men from serving, though regulations in place since 1840 had required them to be limited to not more than 5% of all enlisted sailors. Thus, at the start of the war, the Union Navy differed from the Army in that it allowed black men to enlist and was racially integrated. The Union Navy's official position at the beginning of the war was ambivalence toward the use of either Northern free black people or runaway slaves. When black troops were captured or defeated in battle, their treatment at Confederate hands was often brutal and frequently deadly. This reality is tragically illustrated by well-documented atrocities such as the slaughter of black Union soldiers at the Battle of Saltville, Virginia, the Battle of the Crater, which was part of the siege of Petersburg, Virginia, and the massacre of surrendering black troops at Fort Pillow, Tennessee. On December 24, 1862, in response to Lincoln's upcoming Emancipation Proclamation, Confederate President Jefferson Davis issued General Order No. 111, declaring that enslaved black men captured in arms for the Union were not to be treated as prisoners of war. Instead, they were to be delivered to state authorities to be, quote, dealt with according to the laws of said states, end quote. In practice, this policy authorized the re-enslavement or execution of captured black Union soldiers, including members of the United States Colored Troops. On May 1, 1863, the Confederate Congress formalized this stance, passing a joint resolution requiring that all black soldiers, enslaved or free, taken in arms be turned over to state authorities. These threats were not theoretical. Confederate forces deliberately targeted black soldiers, particularly during battles such as the Battle of the Crater, where racial violence intensified once Union lines were breached. In response, President Abraham Lincoln issued a retaliatory order on July 30, 1863, threatening the execution of a Confederate prisoner for every U.S. soldier killed or enslaved in violation of the laws of war. This directive underscored the grim reality for African Americans serving in the United States Colored Troops. Capture by Confederate forces could mean enslavement or death, not standard prisoner of war treatment. For the many black men who enlisted in the Union Army, the fight was never just about preserving the Union. It was a clear-eyed and sober understanding of the high cost of freedom and a willingness to pay it. Black soldiers finally won their fight for equal pay in 1864. In 1865, they became eligible to serve as line officers. For both soldiers and sailors, Fair promotion practices would be the next step in securing equal treatment within the military. During the war, Black Americans understood that freedom was never guaranteed by law alone. It had to be defended, often at great personal risk, against those willing to punish anyone who claimed it.
More than 160 years later, in 2026, that truth still echoes. Rights once thought secure can be narrowed, reinterpreted, or stripped away. And the cost of speaking out can still be high. The faces and uniforms have changed, but the price of freedom remains hauntingly familiar. And it's a cost this nation still has yet to reckon with. This has been African American History is American History.
I'm Garrett Walker.
I'm Harlan Kearsley. And on behalf of everyone involved with African American History is American History, thank you for listening. And if you haven't done so,
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the show.
once you do, you'll be notified as soon as new episodes are posted. Thanks again, and please stay safe. African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2026.